Excited to finish this book, man.
Oh, we almost there? That's kind of like
Get close.
Kind of like the nest.
We're on page 156.
156.
Tao of Jeet Kune, there's 208 pages.
Okay, guess I come over here.
Right here.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I'm right here. I'm cool right here.
I'm staying here anyway.
I didn't like, just like when I'm in school, I used to sit right in the front of the class all the time. I make sure I grasp what they were saying, and like, because when you sit in the back, you're like, what did he say? I can't hear, and people making noise. That's why I always sit here, so I can get all the teaching from me directly from him.
The key to successful slipping often lies in a little movement of the heel. For example, if it is desired to slip a lead to the right so that it passes over your left shoulder, your left heel should be lifted and twisted outwards. Transferring your weight to your right foot and twisting your shoulders will set you up nicely to counter. To slip a lead over your right shoulder with the defensive movement to the left, your right heel should be twisted in similar fashion. Your weight is thus shifted to your left foot and your left shoulder is to the rear, so that you are favorably placed to counter with the right hook. If you remember that the shoulder over which you desire to slip a blow and the heel to be twisted are one and the same, you will not go far wrong. Exceptions are movements similar to the first description of slipping outside a right lead. Ducking. Ducking is dropping the body forward under swings and hooks, hands or feet, directed at the head. It is executed primarily from the waist. Ducking is used as a means of escaping blows and allowing the fighter to remain in range for a counterattack. It is just as necessary to learn to duck swings and hooks as it is to slip straight punches. Both are important counterattacks. Snap back. The snap back means simply to snap the body away from a straight lead enough to make the opponent miss. As the opponent's arm relaxes to his body, it is possible to move in with a stiff counter. This is a very effective technique against the lead jab and may also be used as the basis of the 1-2 combination blow.
Question. That part snap back, the song like it's slipping, is not the same thing?
Slipping is when you go into the punch, they punch, you go in. Snap back is you go back and then come back forward.
Oh, I thought like when they say the word slipping, it actually like you're slipping backwards.
No, you're slipping the punch by going forward.
Oh, okay. So that's not back when you do that going backwards. Okay.
Rolling. Rolling nullifies the force of a blow by moving the body with it. Against a straight blow, the movement is backward. Against hooks, the movement is to either side. Against uppercuts, it is backward and away. Against hammers, it is a circular movement down to either side. The sliding roll. The fundamental asset of the clever fighter is the sliding roll. He spots the punch or a high kick coming, perhaps instinctively, and takes one step back, sweeping his head back and underneath. He is now in a position to come up with several handy blows or kicks into nice openings. Body sway. The art of swaying renders the fighter more difficult to hit and gives him more power, particularly with the hook. It is useful in that it leaves the hands open for attack, improving the defense and providing opportunities to hit hard when openings occur. The key to swing is relaxation, and the stiff, rigid type of boxer must be easier to deal with than the ever-swing type. Mechanics of the bob. Sink under the swing or hook with a single, perfectly controlled movement. Bring your fist in toward your opponent for guarding or attacking. Maintain a nearly normal punching position with your legs and feet, even at the bottom of the bob. Use your knees to provide the motion. Maintain at all times the normal slipping position of your head and shoulders for defense against straight punches. It is extremely important that you be in position to slip at any stage of the bob. Don't counter on a straight down bob except perhaps with a straight thrust to the groin. Weave to apply delaying counters with whirling straight punches or hooks. Purposes of the weave: to make a moving target of your head from side to side, to make your opponent uncertain about which way you will slip if he punches at you, to make your opponent uncertain about which fist you will throw when you punch. Weaving means moving the body in, out, and around a straight lead to the head. It is used to make an opponent miss and to sustain a counterattack with both hands. Weaving is based on slipping and is a circular movement of the upper trunk and head, right or left. Weaving to the inside. On a right lead, slip to the outside position. Drop your head and upper body, move in under the extended right lead and then up to the basic position. The opponent's right lead now approximates your left shoulder. Carry your hands high and close to your body. As your body moves to the inside position, place your open right hand on the opponent's left. Later, counter with the right blow on the slip, then a left and right as the weave is performed. Weaving to the outside. As the opponent leads a right punch, slip to the inside position and place your right hand on the opponent's left. Now move your head and body to the left and upward in a circular movement so that the opponent's right lead approximates your right shoulder. Your body is now on the outside of the opponent's lead and in the basic position. Carry both hands high and close. Remember, weaving is based on slipping, and thus mastery of slipping helps maintain skill in weaving. It is more difficult than slipping, but a very effective defensive maneuver once perfected. The weave is rarely used by itself. Almost invariably, the weave is used with the bob. The purpose of the bob and weave is to slide under the opponent's attack and get to close quarters. The real bobber weaver is always a hooking specialist. It is the perfect attack for one to use against taller opponents. Break your rhythm often when you use it. Don't be a rhythmic bobber weaver. Sometimes when you slip inside a punch, you counter terrifically as you step. Evasiveness should not be practiced without hitting or kicking to counter.
So, quick question. Bobbing is kind of like what, just ducking or moving your head down, and weaving is like moving it left to right, kind of like slipping?
Yeah. In addition, while the punches are coming, keep your eyes open every minute. The punches will not wait for you. They will strike unexpectedly, and unless you are trained well enough to spot them, they will be hard to stop. The elbows and forearms are used for protection against body punches. Blows aimed at the head are swept aside by the hand when you are not sliding and countering. Almost every fighter at one time or another reaches a dangerous spot where he loses some of his command and must protect himself. When this time comes, it is wise to have learned good defense. Attack. There is nothing much in this art. Take things as they are. Punch when you have to punch, kick when you have to kick.
Like that. There's a lot of people feel stupid because they know a different kick. They just want to kick when they're not needed to kick.
There is a little direct attack in Jeet Kune, particularly all offensive action is indirect. coming after a feint or taking the form of countering after an opponent's attack is foiled or spent. It requires agile maneuvering, feinting, and drawing an opponent, a scientific plan. There are two basic movements for attack. When our own will decides the time of attack, when the moment of attack depends upon the opponent's movement or the failure of his action. If a fighter concentrates sufficiently, senses the moment to attack, and acts upon it swiftly and decisively, the prospects of success are greatly enhanced. There will be an even better chance of success if the direct attack is launched when the opponent is moving his arm away from the line in which one wishes to attack. This is important. The psychological process of attack. Survey. The survey is entirely mental and could be subdivided into two parts. Definable. For instance, the estimation of the correct distance between the fighters or the appearance of an opening. Instinctive. Whether the opponent will attack or retire. Decision. This is also a mental function, but the nerves and muscles are alerted in preparation for execution. During this phase, the fighter decides how to attack. For example, should it be from a short distance with a direct attack, or should he, from a long distance, use a compound attack? Alternatively, he could attack with a second intention or in any other way he considers will be successful. Action. The brain has given the muscles the order which they now execute. But even in the execution, the fighter has to be prepared for the possibility of an interception, counter, etc. Thus, it is both essential and obvious that the mental and physical alertness be maintained throughout the fight. Action. Next one. Conserve your energy but attack decisively, confidently, and with a single mind. Primary and secondary attack. Primary. These are attacks initiated by oneself with the intention of scoring by pace, fraud, or force. Pace. A direct attack is made on the lunge to hit the opponent with superior neatness and quickness before he can parry, without any attempt to disguise the direction of the attack. Fraud. An indirect attack may be used to deceive or evade with the first half of the thrust. A feint may precede the attack to induce your opponent, through some preliminary movement, to think that you are going to hit him on one particular line. On his offering a parry to protect that line, you may then deceive it and be free to complete the attack by lunging in another line. Force. Upon finding your opponent covered, you attack his hand with sufficient vigor to turn it aside and make an opening for your hand on the lunge. Secondary. These are attacks intended to outmaneuver or retaliate attacks initiated by the opponent in one or another of their different stages. Attacks on the preparation are used to arrest his movement before he matures his plan. Attacks on the development are principally time attacks. Having anticipated in what line your opponent's attack will be delivered, you intercept his arm as he begins his attack and meet him by strengthening in the counter. Attacks on the completion are made after the opponent has brought himself within thrusting range on his lunge. These riposts are made from the position of the parry. Whatever it may be, once the opponent's primary attack has been diverted, they may be thrown while the opponent is extended on the lunge or during his active recovery, but they are, almost without exception, unaccompanied by any movement of the foot. Decoy or false attacks may be used in any of the three stages as preparation for the secondary attacks. Thus used, they are not made with the intention of hitting the opponent, but only to lure him into stay, attacking you in some line so that you may disconcert him with an empathetic parry and lead up to an effective return. These attacks, therefore, are not made on the lunge, for a slight movement of the foot, if any, is all that is needed. A hit hand or foot is made by using the stroke which corresponds to that of the opponent, taking advantage of the opportunity to deliver it with proper timing. Against an opponent who opens up his target or makes wild actions, for instance, counter-timing into his action or stop kicking into his advanced target or exposed areas as he moves forward, are particularly effective. A fighter who is observant will not carry on stubbornly with strokes that are no longer the right ones. So many fighters put down the failure of an offensive stroke to a lack of speed rather than to the incorrect choice of stroke. The pro knows better. Each fighter therefore has to be studied from the several angles of style, tactics, and cadence before a definite plan of action involving a choice of stroke is finally decided upon. Fighters can be placed into two main categories, the mechanical fighter and the intellectual fighter. It is easy for the mechanical fighter to give advice because his fighting techniques and tactics are the result of the mechanical repetition of strokes, bred of a lesson which was purely automatic and lacking an intelligent explanation of the why, the how, and the when. Their fighting follows a similar pattern in each successive counter. The intelligent fighter will never hesitate to change tactics in order to use the correct strokes to deal with his opponent. It must be plain by now that the fighter's decision to use any particular stroke must be influenced by his opponent's technique and method of fighting. The on-guard position, the alive, controlled parry, timely simple attack, the sensitive, well-regulated advance and retreat, the blinding lunge, and the speedy balanced recovery must all be learned thoroughly. Acquire the appropriate neuromuscular perception of all these so that they only require passing attention, and you may be free to concentrate on your adversary, his ploy, and your solution of his attack and defense. Freedom of movement, balance, and confidence accompany a practiced certainty of the fundamental movements.
I was kind of struck by the sentence two back. You were talking about intelligent fighter versus mechanical. Is that the word you use?
Yeah.
It just made me think about this took me to music. This took me to a lot of things. But you can teach some people to drum, for example. They can learn the mechanics of drumming and be a good drummer. And then there's those that just kind of feel it naturally. They have like an intelligence for that kind of movement. I don't know if one's better than the other, but
I understand exactly what he's saying. I understand exactly what he's trying to say, Shazam. But you're right. The same thing when I used to teach dance, and I could teach people like, "Oh, show me that move you just did." But I do. That was just instant. That just normal reaction. I don't know what I did at the time.
right.
You know, and now people like try to do it, then keep doing the same thing mechanical. They be off beat and everything, but they're just doing the same, but they're not on beat.
Yeah.
So I know exactly what you're saying. So that's what he's talking about. A mechanical person that just do something repetitious, the same thing over and over and over, and he's not changing. And you can't do that with somebody that know what he's doing. If somebody know what he's doing, you're trying to do the same thing over and over, he's going to get you every minute.
Just talking about the importance of adapting, because every person you spar or fight is going to be different in how they express themselves, and you need to be intelligent enough to adapt and not just do the same mechanical thing. And styles for sports kind of get you in that mechanical mentality. Like if you have a boxer or a wrestler, they're limited to what they do, and they're just doing the same thing. But if you have somebody that's fluid, then whoever he's encountered, he has to respond. So, say all of a sudden somebody pulls out a gun or a knife or whatever, they're not used to that. You can't just approach it how you normally would. You know, you have to respond to the moment based on the situation.
Shazay was alluding to. Like you said, you can teach music, but what works, you know, you can be trained one way, but you hear something different, like, all right, well, what do I do? And chord progressions and all that stuff. It's like, hey, you don't use like majors and minors in music. But usually they don't go together, but there are instances where you can. And just being intelligent enough to realize, okay, this is what's appropriate. Like, all right, well, you're not supposed to grab in boxing, but boxers do it all the time. There's a science to it. You know, an intelligent boxer knows when to do it.
Like, it's another thing. It's like, always, you know, criticize common sport, like saying you're not supposed to hit. They shouldn't be hitting people on the ground, but in the streets, there might be a situation where you might have to, because that's just the situation calls for that. You know, or you know the rule that you shouldn't hit a woman, but if a woman's got a knife or a gun and she's coming at you, then you have to break those rules. You know, it just depends on the situation, what's going on. Just gotta make the necessary adjustments.
I kind of like the section we're in because he basically is talking about defense right now. From the bop and weave to the slip to the snap back, it's all defense, and it's actually telling you you don't want to bop and weave into the lead punch on your opponent. You want to bop and weave from the in to the outside, or to slip to the outside of the right lead hand. So that's nice because most of us, well, for certain of all of us, we don't respire it. We think about is offense. Let me put a punch in, let me lick a punch, let me do a kick in. But they totally forgot about defense. That's why a lot of us getting hit. Or getting hit on the hand, or they fall for a fake, or getting hit in the face because they forgot about defense. And the main defense to me is to protect your face and your groin area. What's the sense trying to spar and hit somebody, you're not protecting yourself? It's like going to war without any guns. Everybody got guns, you're going to war with a freaking knife. What's the sense? And he's reminding us in that section that you must always protect your area, your face, your groin area. Always be in defense, and you can't be mechanical and do the same thing over and over. And somebody could break the rhythm, then you'd be like, what, you'd be lost. That's why I'm getting up to that section right there, which is good. But even myself, I still got caught up thinking I'm fast and agile and flexible and all this other stuff. I forgot about defense. And then when you spar with somebody that know what they're doing, but bam, it goes the blow to your face. And whoa! It's like a wake-up call. Dude, I gotta protect my face more. I can't be like, think I'm fast and I'm untouchable. But what if you're fighting somebody that's fast just like you, even faster? Then you're in trouble.
Yeah. That's what I was just thinking about. Like you said, it's like, all right, you can be fast, but somebody's faster. Or let's say they're just fast enough to where you can't just use that, or even like strength, like, oh, well, I'm just stronger. It's like, all right, well, they strong too.
Right.
Now, that ain't gonna work.
It's like when I was sparring with C4 at the park, right here. I was doing good, and I get that one blow because I was getting confidence. Okay, I'm fast, and he's fast, and I'm gonna do my distance. So let me go a step in and go head to head with him. Big mistake because I already break my own rules when stepping into somebody.
Yeah, I had to put it up.
Oh, you put it up yourself?
Yeah.
You know,
It's just
there you go. Bam! It's a reminder. Boom! So take your face.
I don't know what happened, but